so excited to present our first speaker. Her name is Andi Rainville, and she is affectionately called Nurse Andi. And we're really excited that she's here today. She is the scientific advisor for SNP Nutrigenomics. And so I'm going to read you her bio because I don't want to miss anything. So she is a registered nurse and nutritional counselor, respected lecturer, instructor, and practitioner focusing on issues of genetics and methylation evaluation and support in nutraceutical medicine, diet therapy, immunotherapy, chronic illness, infection, detoxification, fertility, mold, pain management, and pediatrics. So she is multi-talented. And so she was raised in Kauai, which is Hawaii's garden island, lucky you. And she's a lifelong curiosity and connection to plant and nature-based health and wellness practices, serving individuals in all stages of human development. Rainville began her career in the healing arts as a chiropractic assistant, massage therapist, and esthetician, and a certified herbalist. She later developed a line of all-natural products, embraced by five-star spas in the United States and beyond. She has worked with the esteemed leaders in their fields, including Cynthia Keller, Peter Levine, and globally renowned physician Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt, who we are very familiar with. And Rainville's work with Dr. Klinghardt spanned clinical as a lead nurse to educational as a primary instructor for the Klinghardt Academies for 2 decades plus. Yeah. Rainville's passion for experience in physics, functional German medicine, pain management, stem cell therapy, genetics, detoxification, laser and light therapies, among other specialties, make her a highly sought-after provider. Her life's passion is empowering people to envision multiple choices for wellness. In addition to her work as scientific advisor for SNP Nutrigenomics, she maintains a private clinical practice in Kenmore, Washington. So she's here today with us from Washington. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Andi Rainville.
Well, aloha and good morning, everybody. I'm so excited and happy to be here with you all, and just a huge gratitude for the whole team at the Thermography Center. You guys are rock stars, and I'm just feel so privileged to be with the group that we're with. Now, this is a little different setup than I'm used to, so I'm gonna guess here. Oh, that's me. All right, we can figure this stuff out. So, I really want to kind of bring home the concept that genes can sometimes be a little scary when people are thinking about doing genetic testing. And I think that's really the allopathic mindset of looking at genes as diagnostics and looking for that one, scary gene that's got a letter that, is going to lead to a crazy concept. And our bodies don't work that way. Our bodies are, every gene we have was given to us with the intention to help us survive. Our ancestors didn't endow us with things that were bad. They were trying to survive. The body shifted to create that ability to survive. And so today, what I really hope to get across is we're not looking for childhood genetic illnesses. We're looking for what are called adult onset issues. If you weren't born with a specific problem, and then all of a sudden in your 50s, 60s, 40s, whatever it is, your body quits working the way it always was, we know that the environment has made our genes act in a different way than they're designed to. But don't worry, everything we talk about is actionable. Everything we talk about and look at and test for, there is a solution through nutrition. That's the joy of nutrigenomics, this amazing field that has opened up. And so my goal is to talk about the relationship between genes and nutrition, to explain a little bit what nutrigenomics is, to really help you remember that at SNP Nutrigenomics, love that word, SNP Nutrigenomics, we only look at actionable genes. So we don't care if you're gonna have a propensity for a unibrow, we can't change the color of your eyes or your hair, but we can make your liver function. We can help with your inflammatory response. And we're gonna get into how we can help make this simple compliable. You don't need an Excel sheet to make it happen effectively, and affordable, which I think are really important. As a nurse, my goal has always been, I want to empower every human I come in touch with so that they can blossom into their fullness in their families, in their environments, in their communities. So I am so blessed to get to work with an amazing group of women. Kim Ressler is our CEO. She came with me today. And I've known Corey for many years. Each of us came to nutrigenomics through our own personal and our families needing help and the doctors not really having answers for us. And so we really wanted to be solution-oriented. We didn't want to be the, well, here's a bunch of data, good luck, see you next year. And so I love the passion that this team brings together, and that everything is really on privacy, on accuracy, on purity, and on how to provide lifestyle solutions as well as nutrigenomic solutions. So what do we actually do? You might be curious. We do cutting edge genetic testing. So we do a cheek swab to look at 103 actionable genes that will affect every system in your body. And we look at where your strengths are and where you have an opportunity for improvement. And then we help show you how to improve it with precision nutrition, which is an amazing tool using whole foods as both precision diet recommendations, but a supplement as well that helps with it. And really looking at how do I optimize the systems of my body versus trying to go after, MTHFR is the darling of the genetic world, but it's not just 6 genes that cover everything in your body. That's not reality. We have 20,000 genes for a reason. And so we're looking at how they play together and how the different systems of your body work. And we're going to jump into that in a minute here. So, I wrote this as breast wellness, but truly this is about whole body wellness, because what is going to help our breasts, men and women, I think men really get left out of this conversation unfairly. This year alone, they're expecting almost 314,000 people to be diagnosed with breast cancer, which is a lot of people. And almost 3,000 of those are men, and so being a woman, having daughters, having sons, having husbands or partners or people in our lives, this is a huge burden, both emotionally, physically, and financially for folks. And yet it's really avoidable. And I think that's the goal that we have to remember. Like, we can make our bodies work correctly with very gentle tweaks. And then we have these amazing tools that can measure how is your gene expressing. It's not just lab work. The thermography, I've been using thermography for over 20 years, and it's amazing what you can see decades ahead of time. So you're really blessed to have access to this technology. And again, lifestyle. Bruce Lipton talks about the epi at the above the genetics, and how our community, how our laughter, our joy, our stress management, all of these things play a huge factor in what your genes are actually going to do. So I loved, there's so many things that affect our wellness, and some of them are more obvious and some are less obvious. And, I love that we're going to be talking about oral health. Biological dentistry has been a love of mine for decades, as well as the fact that our oral health will affect our microbiome, and that electromagnetics are going to have an effect. These may not be those obvious things that you think about when you're thinking about breast wellness, but it all plays together. And we know that if we can look at our genetic capacity for inflammation response, or how we manage our stress, or how we how we develop, create hormones and get rid of them, all these factors play together. So it's never just one thing. It's always this symphony that we have to look at and support in our bodies, and that we have really great ways of doing this. So, we're looking for that middle section of knowing your roadmap is your genetics, it's your blueprint, it's your recipe. But, anybody who ever has cooked, you can alter a recipe and make it even tastier. So it doesn't mean we're beholden to it. And luckily, we could use food to really optimize how it is going to function in our body. And one of the things that I really want to get across today is that it all starts with cellular wellness. If we could get that smallest molecule of our cell functioning correctly, we could get the mitochondria making energy, then we know our tissues are going to be healthy, our organs are going to be healthy, the systems of our body are going to work correctly, which is going to help our breasts as well as the whole of us as an entire being. So, when I think about breast wellness, there's a few genes that jump out. And, they're very misunderstood. The BRCA gene is not a bad thing. It either works or it doesn't work, but there's ways of working with it. But I want to, instead of just going these extreme measures, I want to show you some of the other genes that work to control the systems of your body and how you can implement diet and supplementation to optimize what they're doing in your body. So things like, how does my body allow vitamin D into my cell to do its job? How do I deal with oxidative stress? Free radicals are just part of cellular life. And so how can I make antioxidants to balance them out? It's truly about the balance there. Can I make glutathione or not? Do I have enough energy to run my cell function? How does my gut, how can I process nutrients in my gut? How can I manage my stress? Like, how do I perceive the world? Which is really helpful for me as a practitioner to know, but also as an individual where I can go, oh, wait a second. Yeah, I'm not breaking down those neurotransmitters as fast as somebody else. So I'm going to have to manage my stress differently than someone has a different genetic makeup. So we're going to hop into some of these. And then, of course, how do I clear my hormones? This is important for both men and women. So vitamin D, I love vitamin D. Like, how cool is it we can make a nutrient from sunshine? Like, that's just exciting to me. I've always been interested in some of those components, but how does my body store vitamin D? And VDR stands for vitamin D receptor. We look at 4 different genes here, and this is basically, how does the gatekeeper at your cell level allow this nutrient into your body to be utilized? We know that it has a huge impact on immune function. It has a huge impact on inflammation and many, many other things that are very important for overall health as well as breast health. And, things like egg yolks, mushrooms, fatty fish. Now, if you're vegetarian, that kind of lowered it down, right? So you may not want to eat some of those foods. You may want to supplement instead. And so that's the joy is, we're always going to talk about things that you can eat, but also how, if you choose not to eat those things, you can still get the nutrient in. Oxidative stress. This is that, at that cellular level, this is one of those balance acts that if we have too much oxidative stress, too many free radicals, our cell basically plays possum. Says, this is just too much. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to conserve my energy, and I'm not going to do these things, which is just our body's way of trying to protect us. So knowing that these specific genes directly affect our ability to create glutathione, the master antioxidant, but also to get rid of the toxic cholesterols. I love some barbecue. Y'all here know how wonderful that is, but it's an oxidized form of lipids. It's not good for you. So knowing that I have genes that are going to be stressful with this, I have to counterbalance that with some extra fruits and vegetables, some extra antioxidant support. We know that we could use, I always think of antioxidant foods as those beautiful, colorful, anything that's bright and colorful is usually full of antioxidants, but especially the cruciferous, and sprouts are an amazing way to support this. Whether it's broccoli sprouts or Brussels sprouts or those different types of things, as well as, some people need to actually get extra glutathione into their body because they're not making enough of it, or curcumin or vitamin E, some of these antioxidant support measures. So mitochondrial function is pretty critical so that we can clear our hormones and we can manage our inflammation. You know, we look at things like ATP 5C1. It's that same thing as it sounds like. How do I make that master gasoline substance? And CoQ10 is one of those magical kind of components where it makes energy in the cell wall, but it also helps us clear our hormones. So knowing if your body can do this effectively is a really empowering thing, because if it doesn't, then we have to implement those lifestyle and diet measures to support it and help to optimize that function. So estrogen gets a horrible rap. Estrogen is not bad. Estrogen protects our brain, it protects our muscles. It's important for men and women in the right amount at the right time. So we need to make it, we need to use it, and then just like taking the trash out, we got to get rid of it. And that's where people get into trouble. And we can look at specific genes and see where there might be glitches in either the creation of estrogen or the breakdown of it and the removal. And I don't know if you guys knew or not, but it's, you know, like our body works hard, it creates it in the cell, and it releases it into the blood. The liver kind of tries to package it up and then send it into the colon. But it gets in the colon, and there's actually a set of microbes, bugs, that are called the estrobolome. And they might actually take that molecule right before you poop it out and go, hey, wait, let's use this again. And they toss it back into the bloodstream. So making sure that we keep all of these pathways happy and functioning the way they're designed to is critical for our overall wellness. So stress, not that any of us have this in our life, but knowing things like I'm more of a warrior type versus a worrier type. Of course, I'm a worrier, not a warrior. But knowing that about myself allows me to choose the right kind of exercise. Also, when I know that I have a stressful thing coming up, I can do the different tools to help manage that. Whereas if I don't know that, I feel like people can be a little bit like, they feel life is happening to them versus they're experiencing and participating in life. So it's a very important factor, especially for practitioners, because I think it really helps us to meet our patients in that style that they're going to be most able to receive. And there's no good or bad, you know. Having a fast versus a slow is not good or bad. You just have different strengths that you need to identify and work with. It's super important to think about some of these global things, like balancing our blood sugar is critical for our hormonal wellness. Getting enough fiber in our diet, like as the general American doesn't really get enough full-on fiber into our system. Magnesium-rich foods is not just dark chocolate. There's a lot of other things that are very helpful to get that magnesium level balanced out, because there's thousands of functions in our body that are dependent upon these things, as well as our essential fatty acids. They're called essential fatty acids for a reason. We must have them. And a lot of people go with, you know, the different kinds of fish ones, but I love a lot of the algae-based essential fatty acids. You know, when you think about we're using algae for the astronauts in space, it's been used for millennia as a superfood because it's got all of these nutrients in it, and it's very easy for the earth to create. You can make a lot of algae really fast, really safely, and pull these nutrients out of it. So this is just a list, and you guys are all going to get all of this into your Dropbox. So I don't like, I always kind of bore when people just read their PowerPoints. So these are some of the amazing foods that you can use to support the different genes that run these different components. Like, how do I get vitamin D into my body? What are things that are going to affect my antioxidant status and my glutathione status? Which basically is what keeps that cell healthy. And, you know, we talk about methylation a lot in the field, But if you don't deal with making glutathione and dealing with oxidative stress, that's going to win every time because the body's smart. The body keeps the cell healthy before it tries making new things. So that's one of the ways to think about this. Also, you know, how do I deal with stress? That's your MAO and your COMT. We need those B vitamin rich foods for that. You know, glutathione and sulfur are kind of also below that pathway. So how do we manage making and utilizing that? Because it's critical for the liver detox pathways. And then of course, you know, we all know you have to have energy to do all of these things. So that mitochondrial support, as well as what about the gut? I mean, naturopathic philosophy is it all starts in the gut. So we have to keep those, we have more bugs in our gut than we have cells in our body, which I've always found fascinating. You know, it's like we're just a bag to carry our bugs around. So we have to keep them happy because they do a lot of different things for us in our body. So as you're perfecting these different things, so solutions is always, I have been in practice for over 25 years, and I've had a lot of amazing exposure with a lot of amazing people in the world. And I always would feel sad when people would come in with these literally rolling suitcases full of supplements and an Excel sheet, because I live by Microsoft, Google, Boeing, and Amazon, right? So, you know, I've got a lot of that kind of critical thought process going on, and especially with my pediatric special needs clients. And so it's like, wow, how do you physically make enough energy to process all of these things? Like, it's very challenging. So when Kim came to me and said, look, this is foundational support that is precisely made directly to that person's genetics from whole food nutrients, I was like, what? Really? And, you know, there could be over 400 million different options because everybody, even though we're mostly the same, that little 0.2% difference leads to a lot of amazing ways to alter things. So we love giving people information about how do these genes affect the systems of your body, like your gut, like your immune system, like your inflammatory response, your mood, your brain, your methylation, your detoxification. You know, all of these things are very important. So we want you to see how the genes affect those and what exact science tells us to do to optimize your body's ability to do those functions, as well as the lifestyle things, whether it's sleep, whether it's hydration, whether it's dancing. There's a lot of different things that you can apply into each and every step of it. So I love that. I love science. I get a lot of argument, especially with parents and kids with special needs. And so I love being able to say, it's not me that says this. This is what research has shown works. And we have over 70 peer-reviewed, high-quality ingredients that are very bioavailable and bioactive. And I love that there's an inclusion of adaptogens and prebiotics. We don't put probiotics in because those need a certain care to, and I think that fermented foods and some of the ways that we can get it in from gardening and dirt is a little more effective. And, a lot of times, I was super sad I jumped on a bandwagon of another company early on because it sounded cool, and I didn't realize they were going to sell my data to Big Pharma or share it. So the fact that Kim has made the clear choice that everything is HIPAA compliant, it's never shared, it's never sold, was really important to me for my patients and for myself. That everything is in an FDA registered as well as CLIA and sports certified facility. So things are manufactured in a very interesting way that's easy to reproduce because it's such a precision thing and it's not sitting on a shelf. It's made when you order it. It's not, so it's much fresher than a lot of things that you would find out there. And, for certain people, I have a lot of friends in different healthcare fields, and they wanted a much broader. So we share 103 SNPs, but obviously you can only put so much stuff in a capsule or in a powder. So we formulate on the 22 to really help make sure all those systems work correctly, and then share the reports about what it means. And the biggest thing I want you guys to hear is that genes are not your destiny. They're your roadmap. They're just information, and that you can alter how they are functioning in your life many, many different ways. Some of it is through your diet. Some of it is through supplementation. Some of it is through your perception of the world and how you are participating with those lifestyle tools. So I just want to say thank you so much for giving me your time and your attention today. And we are doing, so we're in the back in the corner, and we are doing a raffle to give away a month's supply of our nutrient. You do need to have done your testing, or whether with us or somebody else, to be able to, for us to formulate for you. But come on back and visit us, and support at snipnutrition.com is a great way to always email in. Our girls are amazing for answering that. We have a YouTube channel where there's a ton of me and other people talking about these things. If you're interested in genetics, that is very simple. We do a lot of things on LinkedIn and the other different platforms. But even at our snipnutrition.com, I'm a writer, so there's a lot in the blog section, and really our goal is empowerment. So we hope that something works for you, and I'm just really happy to have been here today. So thank you for your time and energy, folks.